Engineer again, and I'm back because I wanted to talk about the way I actually buy Magic cards and what I'm looking for and what I've looked for in the past and what I look for in the future when I'm buying cards. Because all players in all card games, especially Magic, have these same kinds of questions, and I do have a strategy on how I buy and sell cards and what I'm going for. So I figured, some people might be interested in what that technique is, what that strategy actually is. So I'll just kind of lay that out. But I should first say, again, like I mentioned in other videos, like I'm not going at this from an investment perspective. I'm going at this from a build the collection to be able to build any deck that I want to actually play in a tournament format. My goal, if you were, is to expand my collection just so I can jump into any format and be able to build a deck. That's what I really like, the ability to build all these different decks. So that's really what my focus is. Now, what I've done for quite a few years now is I stopped buying booster boxes pretty short in with Magic because I would notice that. And even when I first started going to a store, if you could buy a booster box for like $85, $90, that was a pretty good deal. And this is way back in like 1996, 7, something. It was hard to buy booster boxes for really good prices. And even these days, like I go to a local store and someone will sell me like a booster box for like $120 at a local store. So all these booster boxes that I've got here, I actually got from Alpha Investments. I bought from Rudy, just as a normal patron, nothing special, just normal subscribe and buy. And so all these ones I got for like $79 each, and the Modern Masters. Actually, these two I got from eBay. I missed his deal on his Patreon thing, but I got these two on eBay for like $190 each. But anyways, like these are very different. These days, like I just put a little bit of money into those, and my plan is to just save them for later. I'll either do some booster draft tournaments with friends later on, or sell them back off and put that money into something else. I don't really know, but I figured you don't ever get to buy things like that cheap, like anywhere local. So I did it a little bit, and I targeted mainly the sets that had all like the masterpiece kind of foily ones. But that's really not something that's normal. That's like different. I just put it up here to kind of show you that like, look, it's something I dabble in a little bit. I didn't want it to make it seem like I don't do that. But anyways, the main way I've built my Magic card collection over the years is I would either try for buying collections from people that were selling like an entire collection, because you could always get a lot of cards for very cheap. And then I would parse through all those cards, and I would take everything that I already had, and I would remove all the rest and separate out the really good stuff, and that stuff would be like my trade stock, and I would like either sell it or trade it with friends for cards I don't have, and then all the rest of the bulk I would just sell it to a store for like $100 or something like that, for like huge boxes of cards and stuff like that. So after a while, I eventually started doing something more like this. You can see this looks like a Battle from Zendikar, or sorry, just a Zendikar box, but what I actually got in this is I've been going on eBay for years and buying those sets where you see like 4x common, 4x uncommon of a given set. And for a while I could buy like a whole 4x common uncommon set for like $25, $30, and then the shipping would be a little bit more, but I could get them around that price for quite a while. And so I would from like, I think way before Ravnica block, like on up, I was like doing that. And I did it I didn't do every set, but a lot of sets, right? And you just tend to get a lot of cards. And then sometimes like a card in that set will just spike up. Like, Remand in Ravnica went real high. The Urza's Bauble in Cold Snap went real high. That happens sometimes, like either immediately or sometimes even years later, a card will just shoot up and then you can sell those for and get something else. But this actually was a box that I got in the mail that, of course these aren't the Ravnica cards. I just put these in there just to give you an example of what it's like. But you open this up and it'll be like 4 very common and uncommon all laid out. And so I'll get those and I'll organize them into the computer, and then I'll file them away in the actual collection. But for years, this is effectively what I did. And my address and the seller's address is up here. That's why I put the Post-its up. So anyways, that's what I did for a really long time. And I've only recently, like in the last set of or 2 sets, I've stopped doing that. Because it seems like it's finally caught on and other people are doing that. And so when I go online and I look for these 4x common uncommon sets, instead of going for like $30, they're going for like $50 a piece now. And I think it's possibly because like how Fatal Push just shot up in price, and now people started realizing that some of these commons and uncommons can be really good, and so they're all buying them too. So that plan might have like fallen apart a little bit, but what I think I'll do is I'll probably wait until sets rotate out of standard, and so hopefully their value drops, and then I'll try to like buy those common uncommon sets and just see if I can. But who knows, maybe the days have passed. So another thing I would do is I would buy those 4X common uncommon sets, and then I would go buy singles in the market, and sometimes it works out really well. Like this is 4 Ancestral Visions, and I remember buying these for like $8 or $9 each, because, you know, a vintage player looks at these and thinks, whoa, that's pretty similar to Ancestral Recall. And yeah, it takes a while for the Ancestral Vision to actually go, but it's really cheap. It's 1 blue, and then you get 3 cards. So if the format is slow enough to allow that to resolve, then boy, that's powerful, right? So I picked those up thinking they would go up, and they did. They're all like $40-$50 each now. Another one I really scored well on was Cavern of Souls. I picked these up for I think $11 each right when this set was out. And I mean, because I looked at that and thought, this land is really good. I mean, it's 1 mana of any color and you can't counter. Oh yeah, that's really good. So I grabbed those. And this kind of card speculation, the only reason I can do it is after playing Magic for years and years, you eventually kind of get a sense of what works and what doesn't. Because a lot of things look like they're going to be really good, but then you try it and it just falls apart. And it's like, okay, that didn't work at all. I did have some flubs. One of them was this card called Painseer. I knew that people were talking about him being like Dark Confident, and I was looking at him myself thinking this is something that I think could work. It all came down whether or not people could really make his combo work for them. And no one's yet built a deck that really utilized him, and so I think I bought those for like $8 to $8 each, somewhere in that range. I'm not sure, and they're probably not worth much like now, like a couple bucks each. Another one that I bombed out on was this one, Sylvan Advocate, and this is a card where it's a 2 mana cost vigilance creature, and if you have 6 or more lands, then he gives himself +2/+2, so he becomes a 4/5. And then he gives like lands that are actually creatures +2/+2 also. So I looked at this and thought this is a really good card, and I still think it's a really good card, but no one's broken this yet in a deck. So I bought them for like $5 each, and now they're like fairly low. Here's a couple more. So from the newest set, Ixalan, I picked up some Deadeye Trackers and some Shapers Sanctuaries and some foil Sanguine Sacraments. Because I figured these are such good life draw for like a EDH game or something like that. And in foil, I could see people wanting these because they're just good, and the foil ones could go up. So I think I picked up all of these for like 25. I don't remember the exact number. But anyway, so I'll buy the 4X commons, uncommons. I'll buy specific cards that I think are going to go up. And most of the time, I'm pretty close. They either like maintain their value or they go up. Now, years later, after cards have gone up in value, I'm mostly an eternal format player. I do Vintage, Legacy, Old School, and EDH primarily. If I was going to get into a newer format, it would definitely be Modern, would be what I'm looking at. But I don't do Standard, really, and I haven't yet really focused on Modern hardly at all. And so the cards I've got that I've bought in these sets that go up in value, what I've been doing is when those cards spike, I'll sell some of them off and get a little pool of cash, and I'll start putting that money into other cards that I really need, I don't currently own, but they're huge in formats that I'm going to be playing a lot of. So I've got some examples here that I just recently bought all these. So make it a little closer to the camera so you guys can see. I picked up a Beta Chaos Sword and a couple, actually I have 4 of them, but I only have 2 of them here. Transmute Artifacts. These are reserve list cards. They're in my Stasis deck now. And Unlimited Time Vault. And then I love Beta, everything Beta. So I picked up like Shatters and Unsummons and Twiddles that are all just Beta cards. And so this is the kind of stuff that I'm buying as I'm selling all the the modern cards and the standard cards and stuff like that have spiked up in value. And so for me, it's really not so much like an investment thing, because I'm not trying to like get a bunch of money buy some other cards, make a bunch of money, and sell them off. Like, no, I want to play these formats. But it's just so expensive to get into them, and I just don't want to keep dropping cash. And so I'm trying to be smart about how I'm trying to invest and then kind of move money around and stuff like that. So that's effectively what I do. Maybe that would be useful to some of you guys. I don't know. It's up to you. I'd love to hear your comments and feedback if you think that maybe there's a better technique for buying cards and adding to the collection that you're targeting, rather than just just flat out just opening your wallet and spending cash. So one final thing I'll say before I end this topic. If you are going for just straight up investment, like you just want to put money into something and you just want the value of that to go up. So it's almost like whether or not it's magic cards you don't honestly even care about. You just want the value to go up. And I know there's a lot of people out there. That's not so much me, but as far as I can tell, just like Daniel Chang keeps saying, I do think that if you buy the really high-end condition versions of old reserve list cards, then that's, I think, where all the money is going to be. Like, so for instance, if I was really focused on just money, this Beta Chaos Orb I got is, it's not mint. It's got a little play around the edges. In fact, I'll take it out and I'll show you. So you can see there's a little bit of play around the edges on the card. It's definitely not like dead mint, right? Now the thing is, with this card, I'm not going to get as much value as I would get if I had actually taken the card and bought, Beckett 10 or a PSA 10 version and then wanted to sell it later, because those really high-end ones, they spike up much more than the played ones. But I like the played ones because I just want to like expand the collection to just get cards to just play. And of course, sometimes I'll spend extra because I really like beta and I really like alpha and original cards and stuff. But I think if you're straight up going for just investment value, I think the answer has been made very clear. Like you definitely got to go for the very rare cards that are undervalued and buy them in the top condition. And one more thing I'll mention on that. Daniel and I were playing some games over Skype, some old school games, and he kept on dropping Power Artifact on one of his artifacts. And I remembered we were talking about it, and I was like, Dan, those are really undervalued cards, and in this format they're huge because they're an infinite mana combo. And at that moment, they were going for like $20 each or something like that, as we were having that conversation. And then it was funny because 1 week later, they started spiking up and they went to $35, and I offered him $30 for each for a set of 4, and he knew that they were spiking, and so he wasn't ready to jump on that. And I stopped asking, and then now they're up to $100 a piece. And so it's just kind of funny, you just see these things happen, and I know it's probably a reserve list buyout, or I don't know, but the old school format is pretty big. People really love that format, and there is such a small pool of cards that are in that format. So, I mean, if 2% of the existing Magic community decided that they wanted to play old school, there'd be a massive spike in prices. So, at this moment, I want to play it, so I'm just trying to get the cards as fast as I can before they go up in value, and I'm not looking to buy and sell them off and stuff like that. But anyways, just thought I'd tell that story. So thank you guys for coming into the channel, and please let me know if you guys like those finance videos I've made. If you want some other content, if I go back to some tech topics and stuff like that, just let me know. What you're interested in, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye, everybody. Thank you.